Hey everybody, welcome back to Mike's Wooden Things and Stuff. Welcome to another lathe project. Tomorrow is probably lathe day because today I'm going to take some of these old yellow cedar blocks that I got way back a couple years ago when I first started woodworking, and I was looking around for cheap/free material on the internet. And the lady was cleaning out her barn, and she's like, these have been out there for 30 years. I don't know what. They're probably fence post ends or something from back when the fence was built. 5x5 yellow cedar beam chunks in about 2-foot lengths. And I'm told the yellow cedar turns really well. So when I found that out, I thought, hey, I have some of these big yellow cedar things. Maybe I'll make something out of those on the lathe. And then when I went to look at them, I remembered that I had ripped some strips off a couple of them to make my shoe bench thing. I don't have a video for that because it was before I started making YouTube videos. But handy enough, I have a couple that are already kind of a little bit under half size. And I'm going to stick a chunk of walnut in between and make some blanks to turn some bowls and get a head start on summer market season, hopefully. And if one of them turns out really nice, I might try to figure out a way to cut a little curly Q into it to give my wife the yarn bowl that she asked for when she gave me the lathe for Christmas 2 Christmases ago, before it hurt me and I had to put it away because I was scared. So let's get rocking on the jointer, the planer, get gluing up some blanks, and then we'll try to make a bunch of sort of 8-inch-ish yellow cedar and walnut bowls. Right? That's gonna work, right? Yellow cedar's nice to turn, I'm told. I don't know what I'm doing. So, we take our chunks of yellow cedar, which is fantastic smelling wood, by the way, when you're working with it. Makes your shop smell delicious. And square up, flatten one face, square up one side, throw it all through the milling machines, joint your planer, etc., etc. And then we can find ourselves a piece of walnut to stick in the middle of it. And thankfully I had about a almost perfectly 5-inch wide piece of walnut that was pretty flat already, so all I had to do was skip plane it to get it to go nice and clean in the middle of the pieces of yellow cedar after I get it cut to length. And then I can get to gluing up and basically just I was trying to make 8-ish inch bowls with 24-ish inches pieces of things. So I'm thinking I'll get 3 blanks out of each one of these things that I made. I made 2 of them. And let that sit overnight and come back to it tomorrow. Then I can fire it through the planer again, get it one side, well, get both sides all flat and even so I can start chopping it up into blanks and then start measuring off the dimensions. I think, yeah, they were pretty close to 8 inches. I want to say that 7 3/4 inch blanks or so. I was looking online at like yarn bowls for sale, and most of them seem to be between 7 and 8 inches. So that was kind of my goal going in. And then I can cut them square over on the bandsaw, mark out the middle of them, and so I know where to mount, where to mount them on the lathe. I'm having trouble. And I can do a dick in the middle of each spot so that the tailstock, depending on which side I'm doing, the tailstock can register on the dick. And I can mark them out. I went and bought a geometry set. Remember those from back in elementary school? Yeah, they had a compass and a protractor and a triangle and stuff in them. I went and bought one from Walmart. Anyway, cut it out roughly on the bandsaw, get the faceplate mounted, and fire it up on the lathe. And everything is going very, very well at this point. I'm actually quite happy with how these bowl blanks look. I'm picturing these finished bowls in my head. And oh, that blank is too big. Her banjo can't get underneath it. That's pretty awesome. Okay, well that's fine because I'm gonna have to, that's the bottom of the bowl, so I can just start taking off some at the bottom and then it'll slide underneath. Oh, the tailstock doesn't actually go up. Okay, well let's just go slow and we'll slowly take down the bottom. We'll get it round nice and slowly, and we'll get the bottom down to a point where the banjo can go underneath it and the tailstock can come up, and then we can start spinning fast. And everything at this point, you know, it's still going okay. There's been a couple of issues, but it's bouncing around. The lathe is bouncing around a little bit, but it's just, I'm thinking it's off balance. And once I get it round and once I get the tailstock up, everything will be fine. And the reason the camera is moving around right now is because it's on the workbench that the lathe is mounted to. That's it, and it's bouncing the camera towards the lathe right now. But slow and steady. Just start whittling them down. Something fell off my bench there, so I had to go pick it up. And okay, so it's roundish, right? It's getting, I'm tapering the end so that eventually the banjo can get under the bowl. And I'm still thinking that this is going to be a thing at this point, despite the frustrations. There we go. We got the banjo underneath, the tailstock up. Everything's going to be fine now, right? Yeah, not so much. But it's much steadier than it was. But for some reason, my carbide tools and yellow cedar, maybe yellow cedar is better on traditional tools, but it's just keep making these big tears all the way through it. And it's too big and heavy a thing for the situation that I'm dealing with here in my shop with this little lathe mounted to the workbench. And yeah, so it's getting close to the point where I'm going to call it here. Okay, so turns out this was a fail video. This is not going to happen. I cannot get my lathe to stop bouncing around. I can't get my tools to cut this yellow cedar without tearing big chunks into it, even turning to fresh faces on my carbide tools. And I could just keep pulling teeth on this thing and getting more and more frustrated until I do something stupid and hurt myself, or I can call it an unsuccessful. That's what I'm gonna call it. You know what? I'm gonna get in touch with my boy Paul up the street at the high school, and I've got 6 really nice bowl blanks, and I'm gonna see if he can show me how to make bowls out of them on proper lathes. This is not a lathe. I think the problem is this is not a lathe that can do this. Maybe it's carbide tools and yellow cedar that don't work together, but the combination of the lathe, the tools, and my skill level will not allow this to happen. So that's the end of this one. And if I ever get this figured out, if I ever get these things on a proper lathe with some proper tools and maybe some instruction might help, I'll do a follow-up. That's it for this one. Boo me. Boo. Boo. I'm going to do something flat. I'm going to make something flat. Because I can't round.
Bye for now. Thanks for watching.